Here's a walk around of the machine. As you can see, it's on wheels. This is the main panel. You have your serial plate and your zone layout. This is your main disconnect, and this handle will open the main control panel. You do have a keyed lock as well as a lockout tagout loop. Your left screen is going to be channel 1 through 6. Your right screen is channel 7, 8, 9 and zone readout for 1, 2, and 3. Once you turn the main disconnect on, you'll want to check and make sure your emergency stop is released. It's a twist to unlock and a press to lock. You have to turn on your conveyor first. This has an interlock, so if you do not turn on the conveyor first, you will not get heat off of any zone. That ensures that the belt never gets burnt underneath the heaters. You have control for zone 1, zone 2, zone 3, and you have a potentiometer for your belt speed. This black tab on the side is a lock. Once you find the speed you like, you bring this lock down where it is now and it'll lock it in place. Each revolution will be indicated on the right hand side in this little black oval. You can't see it, but to the right is a 1. That's saying that we're one full revolution, and we have it set to about 6. So 1 revolution plus 6. As you go around, 2 will come around, 3 will come around, 4 will come around in this black window. You have top heat and side heat. This heater here is your side heat. It has the main electrical terminals and a sensor that's embedded into the heater here. That's a fixed thermocouple. On the reverse side, you have zone 1 and both of these heaters are zone 1. The second heater has the thermocouple embedded inside the heater. Then the next 2 heaters will be zone 2. This heater here for zone 2 has the embedded thermocouple here. And you have your other side heater. The side heater does not have a thermocouple. Only one of each zone requires a thermocouple. To get to the electrical terminals on your upper heaters, you'll remove this raceway cover and you'll have terminals inside. The electrical box here is just simply a terminal location for all of the channel infrared sensors to connect into. The front has a sliding baffle. You can adjust this to the height that you require. They're on magnets, so it'll just slide on a track. You have a similar one on the exit side. Your belt is a fiberglass mesh belt that can handle 550 degrees Fahrenheit. You can use the channel infrared sensors to read that when you don't have product in there to ensure that it stays at the right temperature. You have adjustable tensioning bearings on this side and the other side. That's going to adjust this drive wheel. It'll move it out if necessary to tighten this belt. It's been preset here, so there isn't any adjustment required. You do have a seam in this belt right here. It's kind of an alligator clamp with a pin. You'll pull the pin, you'll loosen the roller, pull the pin if you ever need to remove the belt. As you come under, the belt has 3 idle rollers that support the belt from underneath. And this belt has silicone nubs built on the underside that ride inside this small, right inside that small valley. That keeps your belt aligned, so you don't have to worry about your belt walking or tracking. You have your air inlet here, and this inlet has a 0 through 15 psi. We want this to run between 7 and 8 psi, so your needle should be up. To adjust this, lift up on this, rotate it what you want, and then push it back down to lock it. You'll have a standard quick disconnect nipple. And each one of these air hoses go to a photo eye and will run in to this lower connection. That's going to keep these sensors cool. So it's required that you always have air on when you have heat. Because of that, we've added an air proving switch that's tied to your heat circuit. If you ever do not have the air on, your heat circuit will not work at all. Each photo eye has a marking right there. It's hard to see, but it has channel numbers on there, so you can represent which photo eye goes to which channel on your screen. This belt has roller has bearings on this end as well. There's grease fittings on top. This one has a guard over it, so you'll reach through this hole to get through that grease fitting. The machine has water trays on the left and right side, and each one has a threaded bung right here. So this is what you'll use to connect your water line. And I would turn the pressure down as much as possible so it doesn't spray into that channel. The same one over here. And on the other end, underneath, you have a main drain line with a ball valve, and then you have here an overflow pipe. This overflow pipe goes up into the 2-inch tall water chamber, and the pipe is only 1.5 inches. So that'll ensure that if you ever try to fill this higher than 1.5 inches, it'll overflow out of that pipe. You'll have to tie both of those overflows into a central location so you can drain it if ever that happens. Your panel has a cooling fan here. These cooling fans have a plastic cover. It's hard to do this with one hand. There we go. But there is a filter. Keep your inside panel clean. And inside your panel, you have your main disconnect, your safety contactor. These are your 3 solid-state relays for controlling each zone, your protection for each zone, your protection for your transformer circuit, and your protection for your 24-volt circuit. This is your 24-volt power supply, your safety relay that's tied to your emergency stop. This is your belt drive control, and these are your data collectors. The thermocouples are in the bottom location. Your USB thumb drives just have a simple USB extension cable. This is your potentiometer, your emergency stop, and each switch for the temperature controllers and the back of your temperature controllers. You also have a vent, and it also has a filter built inside.